Welcome to analysis of IPM 80 2017, the aptitude test conducted by IIM Indore for its integrated program in management. As per the announcement, the test was online and it had two sections in it, quantitative aptitude and verbal ability. As per the prior information, quantitative aptitude was 75 minutes and verbal ability was 45 minutes. Looking at the overview of the exam, mostly the entire exam was on the expected lines, except for some exceptions. First one being the change in the pattern. Though as per the announcement made on the website of IIM Indore, there will be 65 questions in quantitative aptitude and 35 questions in verbal aptitude. But the pattern was same as last year, that is 60 questions in quantitative aptitude and 40 questions in verbal aptitude. The another surprise or an exception which we can consider was couple of questions which had multiple correct answers. Yes, there were 3 to 4 questions which had 2 correct answers. Fortunately, there was no negative marking attached to it, but still, because of the new pattern and new variety of the question, we can consider this as a surprising element. Now, let us look at each section. First of all, we will start with verbal ability. In all, it had 40 questions to be answered in 45 minutes. These 40 questions were divided into reading comprehension, 2 passages of 5 questions each, grammar, which had 2 varieties of questions, that is sentence correction and phrasal verbs in the form of filling the blanks, vocabulary, which were again divided into 2 different formats, which is filling the blanks and the students were required to find out the missing word, and the second one was word usage. There were analogy based questions which can again be considered into vocabulary, parajumbles, and passage summary, which can be considered as a new variety of question the student would have encountered for the first time in this exam. Looking at each type of question, reading comprehension were slightly moderate to easy in nature. Both the passages were around 350 to 400 words, followed by 5 questions each. Most of the questions were direct in nature and could have been answered by spending around 6 to 7 minutes per passage. So overall time spent can be somewhere around 12 to 14 minutes. Vocabulary or word usage based questions were very easy. Similarly, questions based on filling the blanks, which were asking for appropriate words to be filled in blanks, were also easy. Looking at the grammar question, they were slightly lengthy, especially the sentence correction based question was slightly lengthy, but not actually tough. They can be considered as moderate. And phrasal verb based question was slightly tricky in nature, but again cannot be considered as tough. Question based on analogies were also slightly tricky because there were 2 close options in both the analogy based questions. Question based on passage summary or logical continuation were also moderate to easy. Though this is for the first time that students encountered a question like this in IPMAT, the level of difficulty cannot be considered as tough. Though a couple of options were really close, and hence if a student is not really well prepared or is not well read person, he might mark it incorrectly. Otherwise, the questions were not tough. Overall, verbal ability section can be classified as easy to moderate. In 45 minutes, it's very much possible to attempt 34 to 35 questions out of 40 questions. And considering around 85% accuracy rate, we can expect 28 net correct or a gross score of 112 out of 160 marks. The same when converted into a scaled score, we can arrive at a good scale score of 28 marks out of 40 marks. Coming to quantitative aptitude section, it had 60 questions to be answered in 75 minutes. It was dominated by algebra based questions and higher modern mathematics based questions. So chapters like function, inequalities, matrices, coordinate geometry, permutation, combination, probability had the highest weightage. So almost 40% of the questions were from these topics. Surprisingly, there were very few questions from arithmetic based questions. Typically, this is where a student tries to maximize its score, but unfortunately, the number of questions from chapters like time and work, time, speed and distance, linear equation, percentages, ratios, average, allocation were almost negligible or not present at all. So this could have taken a lot of students by surprise, but other questions were mostly based on word problems. More or less, a student would have taken more than 2 minutes to attempt per question. So if you look at average of entire section in 75 minutes, a good attempt can be 45 plus and good score on the marking system of +4 and -1 can be somewhere around 140. When we convert it into a scaled score, the scaled score can be somewhere close to 40 to 43 as a good score. Now combining both these good scores, we can get a good score of somewhere around 61, but we expect that student will not be able to achieve good score in both the sections and hence cutoff will be slightly less. So we are expecting the cutoff to be somewhere around 55. Last year, the same cutoff was somewhere around 50.75 and last year, that is 2015, the cutoff was somewhere around 41. So anticipating a similar trend and looking at the level of difficulty, we can predict that this year's cutoff would be somewhere around 55. This scaled score have been achieved on the basis of the formula given by IIM Indore on their website in the admission process document. Wishing everybody a very good luck. The results are expected by the end of May.